The Pittsburgh Steelers have a clear path to reclaiming AFC North supremacy, largely because of the current state of their divisional counterparts. Head coach Mike Tomlin and company must capitalize on the prime opportunity, regardless of how and why. This means making some incredibly difficult, imperative decisions moving forward, including their backfield situation. Pittsburgh's Week 4 win over the Minnesota Vikings opened the door for a running back controversy. Incumbent starter Jaylen Warren was a surprise inactive, and backup Kenneth Gainwell took the opportunity and ran with it literally. Warren had a fairly firm grip on his spot atop the depth chart in the Steelers' first 3 games this season. Conversely, Gainwell was operating in a clear change of pace role. However, the latter's career day against Minnesota forces Tomlin to strongly consider more of a committee with a 1A, 1B approach coming out of their bye. Kenneth Gainwell's breakout game forces Mike Tomlin to reconsider Pittsburgh Steelers' RB plans. Gainwell was spectacular in the Steelers' international clash with the Vikings. He set personal single-game highs in touches, 25, and scrimmage yards, 134, and scored 2 of Pittsburgh's 3 touchdowns. The fifth-year veteran looked quite comfortable handling a workhorse role. Reverting him to third-down/pass-catching specialist duties would be mismanagement of an asset. Tomlin must lean into a tandem between Warren and Gainwell when they're both healthy. The Steelers lack playmakers on the outside beyond 2-time Pro Bowl wide receiver DK Metcalf, especially with Calvin Austin III now injured. Tight end Jonnu Smith is a fine ancillary piece, but having him as the number 2 option doesn't strike fear in rival contenders' eyes. It's time for the Steelers to funnel their offense through their versatile tailbacks. Their Pro Football Focus's 3rd lowest graded passing offense and boasts the number 22 protection unit. 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers, throwing to an underwhelming supporting cast behind a shoddy offensive line, isn't a recipe for success. Given Pittsburgh's circumstances, we've seen them rely on the ground game. Their 44.65 rushing play percentage ranks 11th in the league thus far. The Steelers ostensibly recognize they can't put too much on Rodgers' plate. With that in mind, there's plenty of opportunity to utilize Warren and Gainwell more interchangeably. Steelers' 3rd-round rookie back Caleb Johnson doesn't appear ready to make a meaningful contribution quite yet. Despite the high draft capital, it's best to let him continue taking a backseat to Gainwell and Warren. Cleveland. Dylan Dingler hit a go-ahead solo home run in the 6th inning, and Wenceel Perez had a 2-run single in a 4-run 7th as the Detroit Tigers pulled away for a 6-3 victory over the Cleveland Guardians in the decisive Game 3 of the American League Wild Card Series Thursday. Detroit, which was the 3rd and final AL Wild Card qualifier, advances to play the Seattle Mariners in the best-of-5 AL Divisional Series. The Central Division champion Guardians fell to 2-9 in winner-take-all postseason contests. Kyle Finnegan, 1-0, earned the win with 1 1/3 innings of relief, and Will Vest worked the final 1 2/3 in a non-save situation. Vest dropped a throw while covering first base in the 8th, allowing Brian Rocchio and Stephen Kwan to score unearned runs. The Tigers reached the ALDS for the 2nd year in a row. They delivered the knockout blow in the 7th to extend their advantage to 6-1, beginning with Perez's one-out liner off Hunter Gaddis after Kerry Carpenter was intentionally walked to load the bases. Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green followed with RBI singles as Detroit sent 10 hitters to the plate against Eric Zabrowski, Gaddis, and Matt Festa. Javier Baez doubled and scored to start the inning and ended it with a pop-out. Dingler's 401-foot shot off Joey Cantillo, 0-1, reached the bleachers and left center field with his first career postseason hit, giving Detroit a 2-1 lead. Cantillo entered in the 4th and pitched 2 2/3 innings, allowing 1 run. Detroit went in front 1-0 in the 3rd on a Carpenter double off Tim Herron that first baseman CJ Kayfus failed to grab after it took an awkward bounce. Parker Meadows scored on the hit, which came immediately after starter Slade Cecconi was pulled. Jose Ramirez's RBI single through the infield against Jack Flaherty pulled the Guardians even in the 4th, plating George Valera from second. It was Ramirez's 40th playoff hit, which ranks 5th in franchise history. Tigers starter Flaherty allowed 1 run on 3 hits over 4 2/3 innings, walking 2 with 4 strikeouts. Cecconi lasted 2 1/3 innings, giving up 1 run on 2 hits with 3 strikeouts and 1 walk in his initial postseason start. In Game 1, Tarek Skubal had a wild-card record 14 strikeouts over 7 2/3 innings as the Tigers held on for a 2-1 win. Homers by Rocchio and Bo Naylor in a 5-run 8th inning that gave the Guardians a 6-1 victory in Game 2. The New York Jets have a lot of valuable trade chips on their roster this season. Given the fact that they're 0-4 through 4 weeks and potentially heading for another loss against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 5, there's a chance the Jets look to sell at the trade deadline. If this is the case, there are a few players they could move. Running back Breece Hall has been at the center of a lot of trade rumors, but wide receiver Allen Lazard might be the most likely Jets player to be moved. Alan Saunders of Steelers Now recently suggested the Pittsburgh Steelers could be a suitor in a trade for Lazard this year. Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers has been teammates with Lazard for many years in the past. Lazard was a healthy scratch for the season opener between the Steelers and Jets. Since then, he's suited up in 3 straight, but has just 3 catches for 21 yards, Saunders wrote. The Jets have not been a dynamic passing offense with Justin Fields under center, but Lazard is currently tied for 7th on the team in targets, behind backup running back Isaiah Davis, backup tight end Jeremy Ruckert, and 3 receivers. He's tied with rookie Arian Smith, who could easily pass him in that pecking order shortly. Lazard is only on the Jets because he followed Aaron Rodgers there, and so it would be very fitting for the Jets to send him to Pittsburgh for the final season of his contract. The Jets could and should look to trade Lazard this year. He's been a depth option at the most for the Jets this year. He's unlikely to emerge as a solid option on the Jets' offense, so he could be a potential trade candidate before his contract runs out. While there are a few solid options for the Steelers to go after, Lazard might make the most sense. He would be an affordable option, and his familiarity with Rodgers could work perfectly for Pittsburgh. This is the perfect idea for both sides. The Jets would free up some money and add minimal draft capital. The Steelers would get a solid depth option after Calvin Austin's injury.